Buenos tardes, UVE community. How's everybody doing today? This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. It is Man United News Roundup time, my favorite time of the day. I'm sure it's the same for everyone. Even if not, don't just pretend. I don't want my feelings to get hurt. You guys know I'm sensitive. But welcome back. We're here to talk all sorts of news. There's not a ton to talk about, but there's enough to talk about. You guys know. Most importantly, my job is just to hear what you guys have to say. Like I've said many times, you guys run the channel. I just kind of throw the topics out there and let you guys do what you got to do with them. So anyway, that's what we're going to dive into today. We're talking Sancho, we're talking Garnacho, we're talking midfielders, we're talking new coaching staff roles and all this junk today. So make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Go check out season 2 finale of What If that did drop late last week, I believe. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Chilling with Dylan, the Kickabout show is back. We're doing that tomorrow. We're recapping kind of all the news from the week and getting everyone's thoughts. Super chill, super laid back, more interactive, more community chat, Dylan driven. But we will be doing that. So remember, tomorrow night, Kickabout. Go check the link of the video descriptions. There's tons of links in there too to save you guys some money on quality gear, whether that's GoGoalShop, United vs. Everybody store, kit bag, Fanatics, Fubo. It's all in there. I'm not going to lie. There is a marginal chance I could lose power randomly because right when I went live, the wind is crazy. The rain is crazy. This is what happens with summer. It's 95 degrees. So awesome. So there's a small chance. Anyone who's spent 5 minutes in Michigan knows that the electricity is not super reliable. And then also, if you guys could, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to donate, but consider there is a link in the description as well. I've done a couple times these last couple of days. My wife, you guys know, she volunteers at an animal shelter. They are part of a big organization that's putting on a fundraiser right now. It's going for the next couple months, culminating in a big event in August. But there is a link in the video description. If you do feel so inclined to contribute to that fundraising, awesome. If not, please consider sharing that with anybody that you know on your socials and everything, just to get the word out. Excellent. It all goes towards animal care and control here in Michigan to get the dogs more resources while they're at the shelter, but most importantly, to get them homes, to get them out of the shelter. That's the whole goal. Get them in, get them out, find them homes, find them fosters and things. There's only so much space. And while the funds can go towards a lot of that, the ultimate goal is to get them loving homes. So please consider that as well, you guys. The link is in the description. If you have any questions, let me know. And then, of course, any contributions that come in for the channel between now and then, super chats, UVE store purchases, membership fees, all that will go towards that as well. So you guys are contributing no matter what. So I do appreciate you guys letting me do that. Let me see who's jumping into the chat. Danny's spoiler alert out here. Don't get too far ahead, man. But we are going to dive into all that. Like you're saying, big up. Brentford progress well. Yes, we're talking in Wemo. We're talking all of it today. Danny B in the house. Fingers and toes and whatever else you cross. Milan. Yes, we are going all about that, man. We are getting into it. Sanjay, big up, Sanjay. Good to see you, friend. Hope you're doing well. As always, how's everyone doing today? Hot today. I had a lot of errands to run. I had meetings this morning. I had clients this morning. And then I decided, let's go run my errands at noon. No shadow time. And that was a mistake. I was sweating. It was disgusting. People probably looked at me like they thought I came back from the gym. I'm like, no, I just walked from the car to a building in the parking lot. So let's dive into the news, you guys. Get involved in the chat. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Get involved in the poll as well, because that's what we're starting today. Obviously, you guys saw the thumbnail. Now, I've seen a claim from Lori Whitwell this morning that United are reportedly telling clubs interested in want-away winger Alejandro Garnacho that the asking price is going to be £70 million. We've talked extensively yesterday about this latest social media post from Garnacho that's just not sitting right with a lot of fans. If you weren't able to catch that show, go check it out. And some people are like, you don't wear another team's jersey, like full stop. I personally could not care less unless it's Liverpool, let's be honest. But the only time it's okay to buy a Liverpool shirt is if this is a zombie apocalypse and you need toilet paper. That's it. That's the only time it's acceptable to touch a Liverpool shirt. In any case, I like I said, I don't personally care if you wear another, especially even if it's like your teammate who's on loan or something. Cool. I really couldn't care less, but it's the context, and you can't ignore the context. Garnacho, Rashford, not really sitting right with Amorim these days, not really in his good graces, and I think that lends an unavoidable layer to the whole situation. But in any case, that post is the latest string of situations and behavior that really make it difficult on us to get any sort of proper asking fee for Garnacho, right? Like, who's going to pay big money for a guy who doesn't want to be here, apparently? And I think Ben Jacobs sort of agrees with this. He kind of says we're not likely to get 70 million. I I think it's probably going to be somewhere like 55 plus some add-ons, taking it to like 62, 63, honestly, if we get anything for him. The clubs that I think in the Premier League that he would fit are facing their own kind of financial hits. I mean, Chelsea are going to be without Mudryk, who they paid a lot of money for, so that's kind of a wash there. Villa having PSR issues. There's a chance I can see him going to Forest if some sort of Anthony Elanga thing happens, which we'll talk about a little later as well. But honestly, I think his best bet is to try to see if there's a team like in the Bundesliga and somewhere else. I mean, because the English clubs, there's a few that play to his strengths, but we'll see. Some of those, like I said, those few are kind of stretching it a little bit. So, but what do you guys think? 70 million, too high, too low, just about right? Goldilocks in it. Let me see what the poll says so far. So far, 4 votes. Get your votes in. 75% of you, though, so 3 of you who voted say that is too high. So what would be your asking price? What would you think that we could expect to get for Garnacho personally? The guy's a Puskas a winner. He's a young player. I mean, it's got to be pretty high up there, right? I mean, not like too low. I'm not saying that he's at the quality, but we have to start exercising this kind of like put our foot down, hold like stick to our guns kind of mentality when selling players as well as buying players. I think we really need to know the worth. We really need to look. I mean, if teams like Brentford are going to be like, well, you paid this much for Cunha, so we want this much for Mbruno, I'm going to be like, well, you paid this much for such and such. We want this much for Garnacho. Like we have to be able to do this too. For too long, we have been the whipping boy in the transfer market, especially with other PL clubs, and I'm just tired of it. We have to start knowing the player's worth, but there needs to be a solution that, because what you don't want is the player to run down their contract either. So there's got to be a happy medium in there somewhere. Sanjay says 50 to 66. Yeah, it's about what I was saying here. Danny says 50, 55 mil with a healthy sell-on clause. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's still going to be a lot of profit, so I'm not too concerned about that. Between him and Rashford, we could be looking at maybe, 90 to 100 million. And I know that some pundits or some journalists were reporting that. That's just math based on the reported asking prices. So it's not news when it's long been told that we want 40 million for Rashford, we want like 60 million for Garnacho. It's not news to then say United expect to get 100 million, holding out for 100 million. That's called math. Well done, English journos. Big up. Sanjay says 65. Roger says, bro, Peanut Head Company is getting annoyed. Oh, is it Club World Cup? Is that what's going on? What are you going to do? Raja, big up, 63, maybe 70 million. Yeah, I mean, we should be asking for a lot. I think that the Benfica Bayern match was probably like the one that I was like, I could watch that. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to go out of my way to try to watch it. So Danny's got Boca match on. Yeah, Danny sticking true to the South Americans. But big up. Yeah, I mean, I used to watch a lot more Boca when they had other players. I have to go back and get to know some of their players now. I mean, I already know a few of them. They've got pretty much half of the, 15, 16 United squad in there. So, what are you going to do? But I think that's a little high. I think 70 million total is one thing. That's going to be some crazy add-ons, though, because I don't think anyone's going to pay a lot up front. Let me check this weather. All right, it's a little more manageable now out there. For a second there, I don't know if you guys could hear, it was crazy windy out there. So 57% of you now, it is now shifting, say that it is just right. Goldilocks setting, bigs up. So I'll leave that open for a hot second while we move on. But let me know how everyone's day is going on a Tuesday. It doesn't feel like Tuesday to me. It feels a little bit like a Thursday or a Friday almost. Like it just maybe because it's hot and I'm tired, and I tend to feel like that at the end of the week, but I'm starting strong just because you know what it is. And I've learned this. It's because I didn't work out today. I had to take a day off. You should always take a day off for the week, even if you guys are really big into health. But I don't go to the gym or anything. I just work out at home. But it's because I had so much stuff early this morning, and I can really only work out in the morning if I get really tired in the afternoon if I wait till the afternoon, and I just didn't have time to do it this morning. And maybe that's why I feel a little off today. But let me know how everyone's doing on a Tuesday. What's going on? Who's blowing up my phone? Anyway, moving on to midfield. Not that midfielder. We'll get there. We got a little rumor yesterday that Al Nassr in the Saudi League were maybe interested in Casemiro. However, Ben Jacobs has come out today and kind of rubbished that a little bit, saying that there's not really much interest. Nothing's advanced. Nothing's happening quite yet. I think that would be the best bet. I'm not sure if Ronaldo is sticking with Al Nassr for another year or if he's just there for the Club World Cup. I don't know. In an ideal world, Casemiro would have gone first week of June, joined them for the Club World Cup. We could be talking about buying a midfielder right now. I think that would be my ideal. Obviously, that didn't happen. What are you going to do? But what do you think? Let's say, for hypothetically, Casemiro does end up going to Al Nassr this summer. What do you think happens? Do you think that we'll spend big, or do you think like now to replace him right away, even though we've got quite a few midfielders, or do you think maybe we'll give the rest of his midfielders a year to see, and then we maybe go big next summer? I know Ndidi has a cheap relegation clause. I believe he could be an adequate Casemiro replacement. I don't really want to spend $40 million on Paulinho. We've talked about that. So Paulinho is not a long-term solution. He's just not. So if Paulinho was like 10 million, 15 tops, then we could talk, and then he could be an adequate, person to come in. Maybe you rotating Collier and whatnot, but it's not. 40 million is ridiculous. Of course, there are plenty of solid first-team quality midfielders out there for what you would pay, or even less than what you would pay for, a 29-year-old Paulinho as well. I'm just saying, do we need to go through all of them again? Hackney, Lamine Camara, Seawald at Leipzig, Agume. We did a scouting report on Agume. Maybe put in a cheeky Zaire Emery bid. Lennon Miller, Hisham Bouadi, Manu Kone. I really like Manu Kone as well. Or you could get an Arden Yashari. You guys like how I did that? We're going to talk about Arden Yashari because it's been reported today that Club Brugge have rejected a 30 million euro bid from AC Milan for Arden Yashari. The reigning, by the way, Belgian Player of the Year. That's what he was awarded last year. Word is that Club Brugge are holding out for at least 35 million and add-ons that would take the total package to 40 million. That's euros, by the way. That's just around 35 million pounds total package, not just transfer fee and then add-ons after that. That's total package. That's a freaking steal. Now, the Daily Mirror, specifically Daily Mirror writer Brian Taylor, claims United, who have been linked to Arden Yashari in the past, have held talks with Yashari's representatives and were preparing a bid for the Swiss midfielder. Woo! Yeah, that's my excited Yashari. Sorry, I got a little out of control. That was my Arden Yashari dance. Sorry if you guys weren't prepared for that. Don't adjust your screens. Just a grown man acting like a child. Why do I like Arden Yashari so much? Go check his numbers. Did I mention Belgian Player of the Year in the Jupiler Pro League? The guy's a ball progression machine as well. Like, absolutely freaking monster. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Let's see. Danny says, Yashari incoming. I'm hearing. Whew. Don't tell me that. I can't handle it. I'm getting excited. It's picking up pace. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of, Danny, do you remember that like 6 months ago when I first started talking about Arden Yashari, did there ever cross your mind that this could ever happen? I swear, I want a finder's fee if we end up signing Arden Yashari. I'm taking full credit for this one. There's no humility here. I don't care. There's zero chill when it comes to the Arden Yashari stuff for me right now. Dabasi, welcome. I am late. I met Roy Keane at the car park and now I have a dark eye. Nice. Did he come and just destroy your leg? Has anybody met any United players just kind of out and about at all? You guys know I met Nemanja Vidic at the airport when I went, not this last year, the year before. Does anybody have any fun stories, though? Let me know what you think. Raja says, agree, Paulinho is good. He's good. I just don't want to spend $40 million on him. Same with Emi Martinez. I would take Emi Martinez for free. I would not pay $40 million for Emi Martinez. It's not going to happen. But do your job. That's his job. Danny says, I really, really, really pray. 3 reallys, by the way. I really pray we're seriously swooping in. If we're swooping in, it has to be because he's like one of the top names on our list, and we don't want to miss out. And we're prepared to go a little hard, probably earlier than we want to, in order to get it done. Or it also means maybe we have a bid incoming for a player, and we've got some funds that are coming in. That's all I can say here. Danny says, I'd honestly prefer Yashari over you. Very different positions, but it's interesting that you prioritize a central midfielder over a striker. Interesting. Rajat wants Stiller and Gyökeres. Yeah, Stiller would be an absolute steal. I love it. Danny said, Rich was saying on his channel before you came on giving us credit. Nice. I like, you know what? I don't want to be a glory hunter. I'm not, but I will take credit for the Arden Yashari stuff, because I've been waving that flag for literally well over a half a year, I feel like. So Debasta says, the Brugge guy. Yes. Arden Yashari, the guy who literally just joined Club Brugge last year, but is already pretty much on his way out, and they're set to make a tidy. Dang, it's raining like crazy. Awesome. That's what happens in the summer. Get the rain. But you guys know I do love me some Arden Yashari. But go check out his numbers. Go check out any of the scouting reports that we've done. I did my cheap summer budget rebuild video. He was included in there as well. Like, I could literally wax lyrical about this guy all day. Danny says, I still take a striker and need a striker, but I've had to pick which player. Yeah. If it's a choice between getting a striker and missing out on Arden Yashari, that's a very tough one to go back and forth on. It's hard. I mean, it's hard because I like both. I've liked Gyökeres since he was at Coventry. I've liked Yashari all year long. That's a hard one for me. Getting both, I would be over the moon with. Losing both, I would be devastated over. That's difficult. They're both probably equally as important for me right now, but I feel like there's more midfielders out there that are very good than there are top class strikers, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Like, there's like a couple of strikers that can give you the numbers that Gyökeres is going to give you, like he and like Osimhen maybe, and maybe Isak, but that's not realistic. Let's be real. But I think that Yashari, I've listed like almost 10 midfielders on a regular basis. It is really raining. Yikes. So Dubai says Yashari and Ederson make it happen. You're looking at probably about $90 million for the both of those two off, but we'll see. But sorry, had to take a break there to talk about. I wasn't even planning to do a news roundup today until I saw all this Yashari stuff, and then I was like, nope, we're going hard today. Samuel, welcome back. Malik Fofana from the French League. Yeah, I saw some tentative links the other day. I'm not sure how many more of these little like second striker number 10s are we going to be looking at. We're getting 2 of them in this summer alone, and we still got Xerxes, Mount, Bruno. I think midfield could be what we're going to wait and see for the summer, but I like who we've been linked with. So Raja says, how concrete are the links to Ekitike? You see conflicting reports. The main thing that I've seen is that he's on the list, but nothing really has happened. No like talks or anything. Some people will tell you differently or not. It's just, who knows? Really, who knows? Raja says, why Yashari is better than Stiller? How come that? Go check out the FB ref. I don't know if it's a question of better. I think Yashari is definitely going to be cheaper. But I think you'd get really good midfielders either way. And that's what I mean. I think there's a lot more midfielders out there right now for that similar price range, that 35 to 45 million, than there are strikers. Now the caveat to that is that Gyökeres is relatively cheap, considering what you're getting, how old, the goal output. Like, under normal conditions, you'd expect to pay, 90 to 100 million for a striker like that at this age and this stage of his career. So that's a deal that's very difficult to pass up, in my opinion, as well. I really couldn't pick, honestly. It's ridiculous. Dabasi says, personally won't mind. Ekitike looks very hungry. So before we got Cunha, before we were looking like wrapping up on Buemo, a world-class striker was a bigger priority. And I'm not saying I would say no to Gyökeres, but I feel like with those two, Buemo and Cunha, top-class striker, the need for that almost lessens a little bit, if that makes sense. Like you can get away maybe with someone like an Ekitike or Gonçalo Ramos or something, but I think it just depends. I mean, depends on what the club's doing. You have to back him. We can't. It's like a manager. We can't say back a manager and then stick by him if he doesn't get back. We can't say let Ineos do their jobs and try to trust them and then get frustrated when they don't buy the players that we want. Like they're gonna dig their own hole depending on what they do. We have to just let them do it. So it's not on us. Although I will say I get mad if we get this close to Yashari and only get within spitting distance. So let's see. Samuel says, I would sell Mount to Aston Villa. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Problem is Aston Villa need a lot of players and they don't have a lot of money. They got PSR issues up the ass. So there's a way maybe they could help us out, but I think they just need a player. They need to sell some players first, man. Go get me Morgan Rogers. Go get me Boubacar Kamara if Aston Villa wants somebody. They don't have a ton of players that they can sell. That's why they're asking for so much for Emi Martinez. Because just like Everton asking so much for Onana, Branthwaite, because they didn't have a ton of depth, they didn't have a ton of money, and they didn't want to sell all of their best players. Their best bet was to sell one and then hold on to the others, and then rely on recruitment to get some additions to the squad. That's just how it is. Danny says, just my opinion, maybe because I watch more of Yashar and he has left footer and probably better dribbler and ball progressor. Yeah, no, I think he's definitely a good player. You guys know, you could there's so many midfielders. I could do a whole nother scouting report breakdown video on all these midfielders, but I've literally done individual scouting reports on all of them. So you just have to go figure them out. Oh, I forgot about Jonathan David Dabasi. There's the other one. See, look at that. Go get Jonathan David, then you get Arnie Yashari, which is literally what I did in my budget summer rebuild video, if you guys remember that one. Bashali, Yashari, Jonathan David. It was such a good video, not to do my own horn. So that's awesome. He's not a Timu Oshman, though. He's very good. He's a very good striker. Gary, welcome back, man. We need a proven goal scorer. We can't afford to take a chance on a prospect. We don't need another Hoyland. Yeah, I think we do need strikers, but we've also got two proven goal scorers now to the squad in Cunha and in Buemo. Remember, a lot of what I said for the last several months, we need goal scorers in the squad. And I didn't necessarily limit that to a striker. We needed other players who could score because, other players aside from the striker were also missing some big chances in front of net. And we need players who can finish these chances. I like that we're spreading the goal scoring around. I don't want us to be so one-dimensional where everybody can see where we're trying to put the ball at all times. Because now you've got threats from all over the place. You've got Cunha, you've got Mbeumo, striker, Bruno, Ahmad. You've got everybody. You got Xerxes carrying the ball in and stuff. Casemiro popping up with late runs or pitching in on set pieces and stuff. I like having a little bit more of a multifaceted approach to where these goals are coming from, because now teams can't just, double mark Ahmad or something and limit our approach to that. I think that I like this approach very much. So Raja says Jonathan David may be going. Well, we remember we talked yesterday, this breaking news that Napoli's dream target was Darwin Nunez. I don't know if anyone's dream target is Darwin Nunez. RSV, welcome back, my friend. Been a minute, man. You enjoying this weather? RSV doesn't live that far, man. It's crazy windy and was crazy raining. Is it still raining? A little bit. Not as bad as it was. I thought we were going to lose power there. You know what I'm talking about. But you say, David is massively overrated. There's a reason no other big club even inquired about him. I mean, agree to disagree. I don't know if he is overrated. I think you look at his numbers over the last several years, they speak for themselves personally. We can say the same thing about any player, why aren't any clubs moving for Gyökeres? Gyökeres may have told clubs he only wants a certain destination. Same with Mbeumo. People could say, why isn't no one coming for Mbeumo? Because he told other clubs that he just wants United. I have no idea what's going on with Jonathan David. Seems like there are clubs. I do think a lot of it has to do with the calendar. I think that the calendar year starting in a week now, new PSR year, new financial year. I think that has a lot to do with why some of these big moves haven't quite happened yet, but I've been wrong in the past. But RSV says we still need an athletic box-to-box 8 like a Baleva who currently perfectly fits. Well, you're going to spend about 80 to 100 on Baleva if you want to go get him right now, but that's the way it is. RSV likes Callum Wendo from Ron's over Jonathan David. I think Callum Wendo, what has he got? Like one decent standout year, just like Ekitike. Like, I need to see more personally from players. You guys know that, other than 1 year. It doesn't mean I think somebody is bad. It just means I need to see more. So let me go check. 23 years old, 17 goals. So he looks like he is. So last year was semi-decent. Not by much, because he had 15 goal return in all comps. So what do you do in the league? 10 goals in league. So he's gotten a little better this year. So it could be kind of an upward trajectory. He would be one for me, RSV, to keep an eye on. Not one that I would spend a lot of money on right away, if that makes sense. Watch him for another season. If it looks like those numbers are going on an upward trend, could be worth putting some money on. That's just how I prefer to look at these guys when they have one good season. I need to see upward trends a little bit. So, oh man, Samuel throwing out the throwbacks here. Chicharito, Little P. Anybody, little piece of trivia, if you guys can tell me why he's called Little P, let me know. We'll give you a little chime or something in the music. Raja says, Rajat's annoyed that we never got Moises Caicedo. Well, that's because United decided to bring in one of the best squad building talent identifiers in Ralph Rangnick and then completely ignore everything he had to say. That's United for you. There you go, man. Debasi says, what's common between Gyökeres and Rashford? They've played in England before. That's probably about the only common denominator I see. So Samuel says, I have family who live in Canada. Well, go tell them to stalk Jonathan David and tell him to come to United. No, don't stalk. Stalking is wrong. RSV says, Yashari is an absolute baller. He's very good with his feet. He will be worth at least 90 million. He'll be worth 90 million if he stays at Club Brugge another year, for sure. But he is very, very good. Not going to talk about other channels. You guys know that. Y'all can get involved in that in the chat. Sammy says, I'd love to see Manchester United sign Victor Boniface. What's going on with Boniface? I've seen he's available. He's not a striker that I've watched a ton of, but a lot of Leverkusen fans, people like Bundesliga supporters, they don't really rate him all that highly. He had injuries too, didn't he? Maybe that's what it was. RSV says it was Eric Ten Hag who refused to work with Rangnick. What an arrogant fool. He's such a bellend. Remember, Rangnick kind of dug his own hole a little bit as well, so that didn't help. So that does play a role. But big up, you guys. So let's talk a little bit about Brian Mbeumo for a hot second, because got a little bit of an update today from sorry. There we go. Sorry, my computer was crapping out on me for a second there. So 150K a week salary is being reported. Sorry, Alex Crook, not 250K a week. Seriously, don't listen to Alex Crook. Why he has a microphone and a camera. He's just a guy in front of a microphone and a camera. And don't make any jokes. Don't listen to him. The guy is just an absolute idiot. But it looks like that deal is getting wrapped up. We're just kind of going over it with a fine-tooth comb here, kind of dotting a few I's. Are you guys getting excited yet about Mbeumo, though? Is the price too high? The wages just right? Do you think he'll be a good fit for the club? One guy thinks he's a good fit, and that is Rui Almeida, who is Brian Mbeumo's former coach at Troyes in the French league. So speaking earlier today, Almeida had nothing but good things to say about Brian Mbeumo in terms of his character, his approach to just playing and training. He's praised his work ethic. He even said he trains like it's a final. He treats training sessions like they're finals. This is what else he had to say here. Said his mindset separated him from the other talents I had at the time. He's a little shy, but he trusts himself. He knows his capabilities and how strong he is as a player. He will bring speed and goals, even with the pressure of Man United. I think he will fit exactly what Ruben wants, not just offensively, but defensive as well. So he had a lot to say about Mbeumo's work rate on and off the ball. A lot of running, a lot of physicality, a lot of getting involved in all areas of play, which is what we need. It's almost like a total football approach, but just we need that physicality. We need those runners. We need those players who don't shy away from the moments on the pitch. And I like that. It was a good little interview. It's like 8 minutes long. If you guys want to go listen to it, what you guys saying here in the Chizat? Danny says that's what cost him his job before he even started. Yeah, it does seem like Ten Hag wanted a little too much power in a lot of what we were doing at the time, which if it was 20 years ago, we would be praising that, right? But it's just not anymore. Football has just evolved. Like, that's what it was under Ferguson. It's just not like that anymore. And that doesn't mean Fergie was wrong or anything. It doesn't even necessarily mean Ten Hag was wrong. It's just not the way it's going to work anymore. So, and again, you take on all that power, that decision making. You are the one who faces the music if it goes wrong. And unfortunately, Ten Hag did. So it is what it is. Gamer TV, welcome back, my friend. Hope we're doing well, giving us some of the news updates, talking about Højlund. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit yesterday. Yeah, you say caught off. I don't tend to believe a whole lot that I see in caught offside. I'm not saying they're full of crap. I just usually caught offside sources are just according to sources. So I need to see a little bit more legitimacy. But as you can see, they're not saying anything that we haven't already discussed. So a big up. Good to see you again, Gamer TV. Hope you're doing well. Debasi says we should try and spread the news of hijacking Semenyo. Spurs get enough laughs just being Spurs, man. We don't need to help them anymore. Hold on one second, you guys. Sorry. Oi! Shut it. Sorry. Dog was barking. Had to go tell him to shut up. It's very, very unprofessional. My bad. If I didn't tell him to stop, though, he was just going to keep doing it. So, but thank you guys for letting me do that. Gary says, Mbuemo is going to be a monster for us. He's going to link superbly with Cunha and Bruno. I think so. I think that's like, even if you got like Xerxes starting up there, not saying Xerxes bad, just having the runners and having the quality runners, off who can do something. Like, it's different to just say we have runners off the ball. There are levels to this quality, though, in these players, and I think that that's going to have a big impact as well. So, but big up, man. Gamer TV says, Cunha, Mbuemo, Ahmad, and a striker. Lord have mercy. Woo! Praise the Lord. So, as that deal wraps up, though, as the Mbuemo deal kind of rounds the final turn, it's widely reported that United are planning to shift to a striker. 2 weeks before preseason, all the talk's been, hey, we're looking to wrap up a striker before that tour begins. It's a big ask when you look at how slowly we've been moving on the other stuff. Wrapping up a striker deal in 2 weeks seems like a pipe dream. We've been linked to a lot of names. Pretty much every one of them hasn't been scooped up yet, aside from Liam Delap. If you can't tell, I'm not too bothered by that one personally. Not saying Delap is bad, but he's not the answer to our goal-scoring issues. He is basically another Højlund or maybe even an Ekitike. But again, like I said, I do think clubs might be waiting for July 1st for PSR reasons. And I think that we are one of those clubs. We had a budget, and then we got to move forward. Now everything after July 1st counts towards next year. And so that is how that works. So I think that you might see once July 1st rolls around and when that preseason is set to start shortly thereafter, a lot of dominoes will start falling with keepers and with strikers. One name, though, that popped up recently and has gained a little traction from a couple sources is Fiorentina striker Moise Kean. I'm not keen on Kean. I saw bits and pieces throughout the day, but the one I saw that I remember was DiMarzio. He chimed in claiming that United have inquired about Moise Kean over the weekend. I don't know what you guys think about Moise Kean. I'm all set. Again, he's another kind of one season wonder. Good season at Fiorentina, but that's it. I mean, this season he's had more goals than like his previous 5 seasons combined, or like almost more goals. Like, I'm all set. You guys know I don't do the one season wonder thing. Let's see. Samuel says Højlund should join Inter Milan ASAP. He suits Serie A, but is he going to get minutes? Like, he's got Lautaro, Marcus Thuram to contend with, and it's not like he's going to bench any of those guys. Like, I don't have a problem with him going to Serie A. I think he does suit it. These teams are stacked already. AC Milan have Jimenez. I don't think he's going to push him to the bench. Napoli have Lukaku. He could maybe rotate in with Lukaku, but is that really what he wants to do? I mean, no, I don't think so. Who else would we go to in Serie A? He needs to. It's more importantly, like not looking at the league. Højlund needs to go look at the manager and the team that are going to play to a system that suits his strengths. Not holding up the ball, but like taking advantage of his speed and his pace, which is what he was doing at Atalanta. They played a very quick transition system, and he was able to kind of get his head down, open up his legs, and just book it. He scored a lot of goals like that, and I think that's going to be more important for him. I don't know if I don't know if he's quite ready to start grasping the tactical side of things, but he also did not benefit from having any sort of competition for his place. He didn't benefit from having any focused mentoring from any older strikers. He came in at 20 years old, don't forget, and he was our striker. That was it. That was it. 20-year-old Rasmus Højlund was our striker. And that's hard. That's hard on any youngster. Gamer says, yeah, Moise Kean, he's very Højlund-esque. Yeah, and he's old, too. I mean, not old. He's like 25 now, so he's older, and it's like, I'm all set. Danny V says, rather keep Rasmus than take me. There's a chance. I've seen reports that, we're not actively looking to sell Højlund. There's maybe hope, is the report I'm seeing, that maybe he could stay, kind of be a second option and learn and grow and still kind of develop. Maybe not to be a world-class striker, but maybe to be an adequate kind of rotation option, which is fine. He never should have been the main guy in the first place. He wasn't ready for that. And I think that that really played a role in just kind of killing his confidence, because it was all the responsibility was on him. That's just the way it works. And it wasn't fair. But at the same time, that doesn't have anything to do with the first touch. That was like when we thought we like Lukaku was as worse as it got with first touches, then Højlund says, hold my beer. I got this, y'all. And it was bad. Like this season was bad. It just went from bad to worse throughout the season. So Gamer says, I'd rather take Ekitike. I can guarantee he'll score against lower league teams. Unlike Kean and Højlund. And you get into this, and what I want to avoid is getting into this panic situation when you're building and when you're rebuilding and when you've got a plan and a structure and a whole thing. You can't just buy for the sake of buying. I've said many times, we have to build, not buy. We have to do what Liverpool did. Liverpool wanted Virgil van Dijk. They couldn't get him. And so instead of just saying, well, we want anybody, just go spend big, they didn't. They were patient and they held out for their top striker target. If Ekitike is not our top target, then we shouldn't just get him just to get a striker. It's not the way it should work, because then that's what's caused us a lot of problems over the years. And so we have to find a way to make it work. We have to get creative, and then we can hold out for our top target. Now, if our top target just ends up going someplace else, that's a different story altogether. But I just don't want to settle for someone because we're getting impatient. So Debasi says, Højlund need a little break and work on his stuff. He needs to get some focused coaching like Cheeto did when he was still in the academy personally. And the club need to work with him on that. If he wants to work with me, I can come be a mental performance coach. You guys know I'm in the PFA class. You know I'm a mental health professional. And that's where I'm going with this in the fall. I'm going to start doing that kind of stuff too. So Højlund, hit me up, man. Fly me out to Manchester. I work with you, bro. Well, I guarantee you I'd spend a week with him and he'd be freaking golden boot winner that season. I'm not even going to lie. Danny says, we're serious. Has there been more updates, Danny? Because we talked about Yashari to start off the show, man. Have there been more updates? If so, you're going to hear something hit the bottom of this desk here in a second. I'm going to be flipping losing it. I don't see any other updates at all. Yeah, I got nothing other than, I got nothing, man. Let me know if you saw any new rumors, man, because I got nothing. So, but it would be nice. Now, it says it's reported by many outlets. It's probably the same stuff we were talking about earlier. It's just kind of making the cycles, because that's what it does. So, like, somebody will report it, and then another source, like the People's Person, will report it, and it will say, oh, according to a report here, and then someone will say, according to the People's Person, this is how it works. I'm not saying anyone's full of crap. I'm just saying that that's the news cycle. It just, everybody's referring to everybody else, basically, and it just goes on and on and on, like human centipede kind of stuff. But we'll see. That, like Danny's saying, too many reports coming out, no smoke without fire. We have been linked with interest for him for like a couple months ago. I've been linked with interest in him for like 6-7 months, so we'll see. So And Danny always loves it when I throw out the Virgil van Dijk's remarks. I should probably put that on a shirt, but then again, I'd have to put Virgil van Dijk's on a Van Dijk's shirt, and so the cognitive dissonance in me does not want to do that. This is why I can't do fantasy sports. Cognitive dissonance. Look it up. Gamer TV says, why does United want to have a hope he'll come good? It's not going to happen. Sell Hoyle in the Serie A and go get Ekitike. It could be like a Harry Maguire situation. Maybe. I'm not saying this is what's happening. I'm saying maybe this is a possible explanation. Harry Maguire, captain's armband, not that great. Shaky, trying to do a little too much, constantly. Harry Maguire without the captain's armband, very good. Now, I'm not saying I would start him week in, week out, but we can't argue that Harry Maguire hasn't been good this season. Hoyland not as the main striker at, 22 years old could be good. Hoyland as the main striker at 21, 22, that's probably a lot of responsibility for him. So maybe that's the case. If we just put him into a position in the role where he should have been from the get-go as the backup, as he's young and learning, then we'll see. But it's hard to know. Not everyone can just be thrown in the deep end like that, especially at a club like United, and that it's going to work out. It's just, that's not everybody. It doesn't mean you're a bad player. It's just timing. Timing is everything sometimes. So Danny says, the MEN. Well, I mean, it's probably Samuel Butthurst then. So we don't take Samuel Butthurst seriously on this channel, but we'll see. Dabasi thinks De Ligt is too injury prone. Every time he and Mount fall, some United fan get their hearts in their mouths. I think that De Ligt's actually been pretty solid up until the last couple weeks of the season or so, right? Let me look up how many matches De Ligt played this season, because I was worried when we were signing him about his injury record. I mean, he played 29 matches, so it's not 42 in all competitions is not bad. That's 12 more than he played for Bayern. That's as much as he played in his first season for Bayern. So that's pretty good. It's literally like the fourth most he's played since leaving Ajax. So not horrible. Not horrible at all, personally. 29 league matches, so he missed the last couple matches of the season too. So, but he did play in the Europa League semifinal, and that was his last match. So, fitness. Other than that, I mean, he was playing pretty much all season. So, I was worried. We'll see what happens, but I think he actually had a pretty good record this season, personally. So, let's see here. The boss says, I won't do it. It's huge. Don't want a second guy. You guys are funny. Nota, welcome, says Butthurst is a snake. And that's why we call him Samuel Butthurst, not Samuel Luckhurst, because he is still butthurt that he got kicked out of many press conferences at United. Fergie kicked him out. Van Gaal called him fat. Like, he just hates us. And it can be clear. But we call him, he is Samuel Butthurst on this channel, Nota. But welcome back, buddy. Let's talk about strikers. So I read a report from Ebola, which is one of the Portuguese outlets, that Victor Gyökeres, I know, right? We haven't spoken about him in like a week. Reportedly, Victor Gyökeres has told Sporting that he won't be playing for them again, and he won't return to training after he's feeling a little butthurt himself about the way they went back on their agreement. Allegedly. Honestly, I'm not even concerned about players deciding they don't want to play for a club because they want to get a move. It happens a lot, probably a lot more than I think people realize. That kind of stuff happens. But it does make me want to ask your opinion when it comes to players like refusing to train basically in order to get their move, especially maybe if their club is being a little difficult. Is that justified? Are you like, no, you're getting paid, you're an employee, like you work no matter what until the day you're not there anymore? Like, where you guys sit on that? What are your thoughts? Anthony did this reportedly, remember, at Ajax. He basically forced his way to move. Virgil van Dijk did this to get his move to Liverpool. He did not want to play for Southampton. A lot of Liverpool fans seem to forget. Liverpool fans seem to forget a lot of things. But I'm always curious about stuff like that, like what people's thoughts are on those kind of things, because they do happen a lot. And everyone's going to have interesting points of view on that. But I wonder what that means for everybody. So Dubai says a striker goes striking on strike. Striking. I like it. Yeah, like I said, Anthony did it as well. It happens a lot more than I think people realize. It doesn't always get reported on as heavily. It will when it's United. And so if we buy Victor Gyökeres, for instance, the headline will be like, difficult striker joins United, or United. Like, if you'd gone to Arsenal, it'd be totally different. Like striker, rebels against, dominating club to get his dream move or something like freedom for Gyökeres. This is how the agendas are going to agenda. Just striker things, says Debasi. Yes. Let's talk about Sancho because there have been some Sancho developments today, y'all. Make sure you're hitting that like button for me, you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new. Get in that poll, too. There's still time to get in there. I'm going to get water because it's hot. You know what I realized is I was worried. I was asking my wife, like, I wonder if the air conditioner is like not working because it's really hot up in this floor. But I think it's because we need better insulation in our roof, like in the crawl space. That's why it's hot. You guys didn't really want to know that, but as I remember that it was hot, I was thinking about that earlier. Jadon Sancho. Let's talk about the freedom fighter. Little bit of an update today on Fenerbahce's reported interest in Sancho. This is coming from Turkish journalist Sabahspor, Turkish outlet Sabahspor, sorry. Apparently, Fenerbahce have offered Sancho a salary of roughly 8.5 million, which translates to about 163K a week, almost half of what he's getting at United. And the reports are saying that he's happy with that because it's more than what like Juventus and Napoli are reportedly offering, is the rumors that I'm seeing. I'm not sure about this one personally, just because of all those other reports that he wasn't going to reduce his salary, that he was holding out for. He's got a year left. He's going to take, almost a 50% pay cut for the last year of his United contract to go play in Turkey for Jose Mourinho. It doesn't sound like an ideal move, if I'm being honest. It is, Gary just became our newest member of the channel. Big up, Gary, man. Now, remember, from now until August 9th, I believe, when my wife's fundraising event goes on for the animal shelters here in Michigan, all your memberships, all your chats, anything you buy from the UVE store, that's all going towards that fundraiser as well. But big up, Gary, absolute legend for becoming a member of the channel. Awesome, man. Love to see the UVE community growing. Big up, Gary. Good to see you back, my friend. Nota says free at last. Free at last. Big up, man. You guys are funny. You guys having a good day today? I could do without the 95-degree heat personally, but what are you going to do? But big up, Gary. Debasi says Jose is second best manager at United. He is saving United even after all this. A lot of people have mixed opinions on Jose. I don't necessarily vibe with Jose. I think he's a little bit of a narcissist, and I don't vibe with narcissists. Dylan and I did do that video during the international break a couple months back, rating all of our post-Ferguson managers. Go back and watch that. We also did another video that same week rating our post-Ferguson transfers. And we shared our top 5. Go check those videos out if you guys are doing. Gabriel says, lads, we need to ransack Lyon for their attackers. Fofana, Mikadaze, Nuama, interesting. Tolisso. I wanted Cherke. I would have taken Kakare too. I thought Kakare was very good. He ended up going to Como, I believe. Debasi says a real OG Jose. Oddly enough, Jose was like, I want to say he was like my number 2, which when I say that I don't really vibe with Jose, that's high praise personally. But Sam says Sancho should just join the special one, Jose. I just don't see it working. Like, I can't see Sancho lasting long. He reminds me of like another Memphis, and Memphis did not vibe with Jose at all, man. Either way, I'm starting to have a little bit of doubts about some of these Turkish outlets personally. I just can't see Sancho and Jose working personally. Ross Harwood chimed in. He believes that it's a matter of time just until Sancho goes to Fenerbahce. Rudy Galletti claims that actually talks between Sancho and Fenerbahce began last month, and it's just now that they're reaching out to United this month. So who knows? If this is true, the next steps obviously are going to be a negotiated transfer fee with United and get him gone. We'll see what happens. Marco Giordano, that guy who reported the Juventus stuff, claims that Juventus are meeting with Sancho's agent this week to finalize a deal. Reportedly, 21 million is going to that. So we'll see what happens. They better move fast, though, because it's a question of like bigger club versus bigger salary. So Juve is obviously a bigger club than Fenerbahce, but apparently Fenerbahce are offering more money. So I mean, for wages wise. So I don't know. I don't really care. Just get him out of here. Like, I don't want to have to deal with him for another year to watch him leave for free. Get something for him. Get him gone. Get the wages off the books. Bye. That's all they really need to do. Danny says, I only said on here last week, send him to Jose to bully the shot. And we sent him to Jose. Sancho is going to quit football in like 3 months. He's just going to quit. You'll see him rocking up in the Saudi league by January if that happens. I swear. I super swear. Danny says Jose will ruin him even more than he did. Oh, poor Dele Alli. Now I feel for Dele Alli because he had a lot of personal stuff going on in his life, and that's hard to get past. That's hard to get over. But it's just Jose, he's a bit of a dinosaur. Jose, I said this a couple times in my life. Jose, when he walks into a new club, he's kind of like when you someone going to prison. He just has to find that person to pick on like right away. He picks out a player, singles them out, and then he just decides through no justifiable means that this is the player that I'm going to throw under the bus. He did it with Luke Shaw. He did it with everybody he goes to. He and Ronaldo didn't really get along very well. Like, that's just what Jose does, man. He and Dele Alli. Who was the left back at Spurs when Jose was there? Who's the dude? Danny. Somebody let me know. I can't remember now. He's not there anymore. Didn't get along with Jose that well. Jose basically said he can go. It's just what Jose does, man. He's always got to be the biggest personality in the room, and I get it. But there's a difference between someone like Sir Alex or Zidane, or Eric Cantona, who are the biggest personality, and someone like Jose who basically forces it, if that makes sense. It's really, really weird, man. Samuel says Jose should just be the Portugal coach. Gary, big up Gary, donation. Appreciate that, man. For the fundraiser, respect to your wife. Dude, Gary's an absolute legend today, man. I'm going to give away some memberships because of Gary. You guys thank Gary for that because that was awesome. Dude, Gary, absolute membership today, man. I love you, man. Big up. I'm going to go ahead and put out 5 memberships. Now, remember, in order to accept these memberships, you have to have that activated on YouTube. You have to go into your YouTube setting. But I'm going to give away 5 memberships in recognition for Gary's contribution. Big up, Gary. Absolute legend today, dude. Proper bloke, man. Appreciate you. But threw out some memberships for everybody. Danny Rose, that's the guy. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, now everybody's getting some memberships. Big up, man. You guys, thank Gary for that. Danny Rose, yeah. You guys remember the all or nothing, or really they should just call it nothing when it was about Spurs. They had that whole scene with Jose talking to Danny Rose. That's what I'm talking about. But big up Gary, man. Absolute legend today. So Sancho, get him gone. Where do you think he's going to go? I'll put that in a poll, and let me see what you guys think about that one. Start a poll. Already have a poll open. I forgot to close this one. So 40% of you think that 70 million is too high. 13% say that's too low, and 47% of you say 70 million is a perfect asking price for Alejandro Garnacho. I'm going to end that poll. I'm going to do another one on Jadon Sancho here. I know we've done one like this before. Where will Sancho be next season? Juve, Napoli, United, or Fenerbahce? You guys let me know. I'll come back and check in on that before the end here. Gamer TV says, Gary is what the GOAT here, not Jerry Neville. Big up. Yeah, Gary's been an absolute legend, man. I appreciate you guys, man. My wife's going to be head over heels. We've already got Sanjay pitching in on the donation. We've got a couple memberships since I started it, and now we've got the super chat. She's going to be over the moon, man. She loves what she does. It is volunteer. She's there right now. She's been there since like 10 a.m. this morning, just walking dogs and getting them out because they're in their like kennels all day long at the shelter. And you got to really love that. You got to really have a heart for it. And it is hard. It is emotional. It is difficult. She's lost a lot of dogs. We've fostered several dogs, including a pregnant pitty that had 7 puppies. I had 10 dogs in my house for 3 months at one point. But it's worth it, and she loves it. So it is a great cause, Gary. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a great cause. I appreciate that. I'm going to let her know, and she's going to be just ecstatic, you guys. So big up everyone for that. Let's talk about some odds and ends here, because we know United staff has seen more than its share of a few cuts and redundancies this season. We know that. It's a big strike against Ineos, in my opinion. But it did grow by 1 member this week. And Laurie Whitwell has let us know this week that Jonny Evans is set to stay at Manchester United after agreeing to a new role on staff. Evans will look after youth loans. He's going to help place players at clubs and offer them support throughout this whole transition process. Taps into his expertise as an academy graduate himself, and that's coming from Lori Whitwell. Evans is a man of the club. He does know the club through and through, similar to Darren Fletcher. That's why Darren Fletcher is still hanging out and doing things and has that technical role. Fletcher is taller than he looks. He walked right by Justin and I when we were there for the Brighton match. He just kind of walked right up the stairs next to him. I'm like, he's a lot taller than he looks on TV. But it sounds like he's going to be helping out Jonny Evans, and that's a good role for him, a good way to kind of test the waters and see what he wants to do. Now, some people might not like it. Some people think that we shouldn't be just giving out charity jobs to people or just whoever, depending on, I don't know off the top of my head what Jonny Evans' coaching badge situation is and what he wants to do with football now that he's done with football. But I like Jonny Evans. I got time for Jonny Evans. 22-23 season, he was very good for us after getting him on a free. That assist for Bruno against Burnley was a thing of beauty, if you guys remember that. He's a good leader in the dressing room to have, a good leader at the club to have. I like him. He's class act, Jonny Evans. But interesting, though. What do you guys think? Good fit for Jonny? You see him doing well there? You think he could help out some of these youngsters? We've got a lot of youngsters. There's an art to securing loans for youngsters because, you want him to get first-team minutes, right? And it is a bonus, I think, in this case, if it's at an English club because they can deal with the weather, the physicality, the tough conditions. And it's a bonus if it's at a club that plays a similar system. Not a formation, but a system. A system is not a formation necessarily. The system is how you play. A formation is just how you set up, basically. And I think that's all a bonus. So if you can find a player, a team where he's going to get some minutes and he's going to be asked to do a lot of the same things he's going to be doing at United, I think that's awesome. It does help to do a little bit of research on the manager situation. A change in manager does see minutes reduced typically for loanees. Remember James Garner when he was at Watford doing well, they sacked the manager. He barely got a minute after that. So you do want to keep looking out on that. So, but what are your thoughts on Jonny Evans doing that thing? The boss, he says, Evans is what you call live and die for the badge. Dude, 100%, man. 100%, dude. He's an excellent guy. Danny says, we talked about something like this would be a good move for Evans on here months back. Yeah. I think if you're qualified, I don't have a problem with it. You have to be qualified. You have to be, for some reason, you remember 7 years ago when clubs were doing all this weird thing where it was just, let's appoint former players as our managers. It seemed like so many clubs were doing this all throughout Europe, man. We did it with Ollie, Lampard, Arteta. Remember Pirlo was managing Juventus for a hot second. I don't think Pirlo had any coaching badges. So if you read Soccernomics, there's very little correlation between being a good player and being a good manager. It's very, very small. And so there's no guarantee that you're going to be a good manager just because you're a good player. And the sample size will show you that it's just not the same. So, but for some reason, clubs went on this thing where it was we're here for the vibes. Let's just get them back in. And it didn't turn out for everybody, right? It's just Lampard, where is he at even these days? Rooney's struggling. Pirlo obviously is not at Juventus anymore, so it's interesting stuff. But we'll see what happens with Evans. Again, if you're doing a good job and you're qualified, it doesn't really matter to me. I just want a good job. The academy is obviously going to go through a little bit of a shakeup with the academy director leaving to go to Everton, so we'll see how we can replace that. So Gary says, shows you how bad the game has become. We used to think Fletch was average. Fletcher, I'll never have a bad thing to say about Fletcher. Was he a Paul Scholes or a Roy Keane? No, he wasn't. But neither was a John O'Shea or anything. But these guys played a role, and that's what we need. It's a squad game, not just an 11-man game. And I think that they play a very important role on the pitch, in the dressing room, everything. Fletcher, class act. Jonny Evans, class act. Big up, though. Absolutely right, Gary. Speaking of academy grabs who have moved on in recent years, like we said, not all of them are going to make it. Not all of them are going to stay at the club forever. David Ornstein claims that Nottingham Forest have rejected a £45 million offer from Newcastle for Anthony Elanga. Why should we care? Well, because we have a sell-on clause in Anthony Elanga, like we pretty much have in every academy player that we've sold in the last couple of years. Meaning on top of the $15 million that we got when we sold Anthony Elanga, we'll get a chunk of the fee if and when Forest do sell him. And word on the street is Forest are holding out for £60 million for Anthony Elanga. Now, The sell-on clause, I don't know it. I can't find it anywhere. I think it's been undisclosed, but I think that it's better than nothing. So if they sell him for 60 million, maybe we'll get like 10 million from that and bring that full fee for him up to 25 million. Not bad. I mean, a lot of people say we shouldn't have sold him. I'd argue that he didn't really suit Ten Hag's system or an Amorim system personally. Maybe he could play on that right wing back or something, but it is what it is. You can't go back and look at it now. What are you going to do? Gary says, Jonny was a proper pro, gave everything for us and Leicester. Yeah, and West Brom, too. Don't forget he went to West Brom after he was done with us, too. Yeah, proper top player, man. Top man, Jonny Evans. So, yeah, could get a little sell-on clause for Anthony Elanga, which could help us. I mean, whoever, if you're not going to play, if you're not going to work out, if you want to go play first-team football, we don't quite think you're ready, throw in the sell-on clause. Just get it done. Kambwala, Iqbal, all these guys, throw in the sell-on clause. And finally, in today's episode of The Agenda is Real, check out these two headlines from, I think this is the BBC, by the way. So Liverpool spend 100 million on Florian Wirtz, paying him like 300K a week. And the headline is, he's definitely worth the money. He's a little magician. United look like they're getting Brian Mbeumo, and the headline is scoring machine or freak season. Oh, man. I told you guys many times, agenda is going to agenda in the media. There's a lot of money wasted on journalism degrees in the UK, and this is just another example of why the media is full of shit. It is absolutely ridiculous. Danny says 15, 20%. Yeah, I haven't been able to find it anywhere, but I would think, 15, 20% is probably standard. I don't think any of these 50% selling clauses are really a thing, but Gary says biased broadcasting corporation. Yeah, dude, it's embarrassing. Like the media, like I literally said it. If you could split alternate timelines where Arsenal signed Gyökeres and United signed Gyökeres, the difference in headlines and the difference in coverage I would say it would shock you, but I doubt it would at this point. Let's be honest. Potsy says, we be rolling, they hating. Yeah, they do, man. They trolling. But I thought that was funny. I saw that online earlier, and I was like, yeah, agenda's going agenda. Like, I keep throwing out the proof, and people are still shocked that this stuff happens, but we're not shocked. But I don't know. You guys let me know your thoughts on all that and more. If you weren't able to catch the live, you guys get involved in the comments. You guys know I do check the comments. Gary says BBC are proper scum. They have, dude, close your eyes and throw a stick and you hit anybody in the media in the UK and it's going to be just agenda, man. Like even ESPN is that serious. You guys know I call it Sirius XMFC all the time because Rodney Marsh and Tommy Smith have no idea what they're talking about. No idea whatsoever. So you got to make sure I set the record straight. And a lot of these guys, I told you, fuck around and find out. It's science. The more you fuck around, the more you find out. And that line just keeps getting higher and higher. And sometimes that's your job. You got to let people know. So go check the video description, please. There's tons of links in there, including one for the charity fundraiser that my wife's dog shelter that she volunteers at is a part of. Huge fundraiser going on. Any little bit helps. If you can't contribute, there's no pressure. There's no judgment, no nothing. Consider sharing it, at least to someone else do. Check all the links in there for discounts and access to cool gear from Fubo, Kitbag, Fanatics, and GoGoalShop. There was a code in there. You get $5 off if you use that to register at GoGoalShop. The UVE store is in there. Remember, anything you get from the UVE store, any memberships, any super chats, that's going straight to the fundraiser until August when that happens too. So big up, Gary. Big up, absolute legend today. Danny says, don't forget to, yes. And if you have it in your heart, please pray for Yashari. Say a little prayer for Hardin Yashari today. That gets over the line before preseason, if that is a legit thing. But that would be Danny, I'm taking a finder's fee. I'm literally sending a letter to United if we sign Yashari. I'm taking a finder's fee for that. But like the video if you haven't yet done so. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check the memberships to learn how you can get more involved in the content, you guys. Be sure to come back tomorrow. It is going to be the Kickabout show tomorrow. Dylan's going to be stopping by tomorrow night around 6. And we're kind of just chat about the news between last Wednesday and now, just kind of sharing all that. Super chill vibe, super casual. So until next time, you guys, enjoy your day. Stay cool. It is 95 degrees here. I appreciate everybody stopping by. We got a new one. Chris Antonio. Gyökeres is forcing to move to Arsenal. Dude, that's not happening. We'll see, man. Arsenal might not want him, so... But big up, man. Thanks for stopping in. Take it easy, you guys. Enjoy your day and make sure to come back tomorrow for the kickabout. I'll talk to you then. Later.